Welcome to ATRIUM Elevator Integration. To get started, you'll need to add an A22 and a CA-A480A to your main A22. We'll convert this second A22 into an A22EC elevator controller, which adds control for two elevator cabs. We'll then wire the CA-A480A directly to the local bus. Each A480 adds 16 floors. You can connect up to 8 A480s per A22EC for a total of 128 floors. Each elevator cab can manage up to 64 floors. If you have more than 128 floors and up to 256 floors, add a second A22EC subcontroller and follow the same steps for wiring. If you need to add more cabs, or if you have floors in different buildings, simply add more A22ECs and wire the A480s to fit the floor requirements. You also have the option of adding a DRM, or Destination Reporting Module. We'll explain exactly what the DRM does later on in this video. Before starting on configuration, ensure that you have both A22s wired into the network using a Cat5 or Cat6 cable. Wire your CA-A480A to the local bus of the A22 you'll be converting to an A22EC. Now let's open up the ATRIUM software and create an account to log in. Use admin and admin by default for the username and password. In the Events drop-down menu, you can also choose whether or not to synchronize the events from the A22. Click on Add Controller to open the Controller Connection Properties window and Auto Detect to show a listing of all the A22s on the network. Click on the A22 and select to confirm. The fields will autofill, so you'll just need to type in the module connection key, which is admin by default. Save your changes, then the A22 will synchronize with the ATRIUM software. If you want to move or resize windows, click and drag when you see a two-way arrow. To add the next A22, turn the first A22 into a master controller by clicking on the A22, then onto Properties to enter the Module Properties window. From here, click on Advanced Options, then Integration to locate the checkbox for Master Controller. Check the box and save. After rebooting, this A22 master controller is now listed as an A22M and can add subcontrollers. It's time to add the second A22. Click on the Subcontrollers menu, then on Add. From the Controller Connection window, click on Auto Detect and choose the A22 from the list. Click Select, enter the Admin Module Connection key twice, then save your changes. The next step is to convert the A22 we've added into an A22EC so that we can use it for elevator control. This is done by uploading special firmware that is freely available on CDVI's website. Simply log in and download the A22EC firmware files from the Download Center. Once the A22EC firmware is downloaded, return to ATRIUM, select your A22 subcontroller, and click on Upload Firmware. Locate the A22EC firmware files, then open the CUF file first. Once the firmware file has loaded, click on Install. When the A22 reboots as an A22EC, it'll show a database mismatch. Select Module so that the ATRIUM software keeps this new firmware change. Select the subcontroller again and upload the second A22EC firmware file. Once the PCK file is loaded, click Install to complete the process. Now that we have our A22M and an A22EC with a connected CA-A480A, we're ready for configuration. Add floors by clicking on Dashboard, then Floors. In the Floor Properties window, you can name the floor and select a schedule for public access. If a public access schedule is set, then all users have access to that floor within that schedule without needing a floor level assigned to them. If you don't want any users to have free access to the floor without having a specific floor level assigned to them, set the schedule to never or leave it blank, then save. Once you've finished adding floors, click on cabs and double-click your first elevator cab to open the cab properties window. From here, you can name the cab and then set the options. The Destination Reporting Module, or DRM, is an optional module that fits over the CA A480A. Without a DRM, when a user presents their card at a reader inside an elevator cab, all the floors in the cab that user has access to are available for 5 seconds by default. Within that time, the user can press multiple buttons, and the buttons corresponding to floors the user has access to will activate. When using a DRM, the controller registers which user accessed the elevator cab and which floor was accessed. Destination reporting is also known as one card, one floor operation because it only allows one floor to be selected per card presentation. You can also set credential options for the card reader, whether you're using cards, keypad codes, a mix of either one, or both together. You can change the reader and area, but by default, your first cab will usually correspond with Reader 1 and Area Cab 1. The button activation time can also be changed. On the Buttons tab, you can add all the buttons inside the cab that correspond to each of your floors. Name the button, then select the floor it corresponds to, the relay on the CA A480 it corresponds to, and if it applies, the DRM input being used. Click OK, then continue adding buttons until the cab is complete. If you have any notes to add, click on the Notes tab to type them in. Then save. If you're using a second elevator cab, use relays 1 to 8 for cab 1 and relays 9 to 16 for cab 2. Now click on Floor Levels, then the Add button to add a floor level. Floor levels work the same way as an access level. Assign the floor level a schedule to specify when it has access, and then click Assign to specify which floors it has access to. If you have floors that haven't been added yet, click on Add to add them from here. If you have any notes to add, click on the Notes tab to type them in, then save. We now have our floors, elevator cabs, and floor levels completed, so the last step is to assign a floor level to a user. From the Dashboard tab, click on Users, then double-click a user to open the User Properties window. In this case, we have Jane, who already has a card and an access level for the areas in the building. All she's missing is a floor level, which we can create by clicking on Add, or we can assign one from floor levels we've already created. Click Save and the configuration is complete. You can find more instructional videos at cdvi.ca in the Download Center.